This is We Burlesque.
We've reached our halfway point. Take us into side B. Tell me about track number 6.
Well, this one is sort of headed into the early college years, and my dad was racing cars. Did some IMCA open wheel, and then I would go with him to the track and was a little bit of the pit crew, and then afterwards we would go and dance. And I wasn't with anybody. I didn't have a boyfriend. He had separated from my stepmother. He was in the midst of kind of an ugly divorce, and I was living in Colorado Springs, and he was living in Canyon City, which is not very far away. So I don't know. I kind of felt like he needed me, and I needed him, and we spent a lot of time together. And so we would go to the country bar in Pueblo after the races. And I would hang out with him and his crew, and I would dance. And we danced a lot of country. And he got really into Brooks and Dunn, and I kind of transitioned into this whole 90s country era for a little while, listened to a lot of country during that time. And every time I hear this song, it really makes me think of him. And it is also the ultimate cowboy cha-cha song. And he unfortunately went missing when I was in my late 20s, and it took us a while to find him. But when we got his car back, this CD was in the CD player. And so it just made me really think about that he was probably thinking about my sister and I, and so having that little memento.
All right. Let's get into it. This is from 92. This is Neon Moon with Brooks and Dunn.
And you should all learn how to cowboy cha-cha.
Everyone needs to learn. All right. It's on my list. I'm
Okay.
going to make the cowboy cha-cha. I had to get to the chorus before I realized I did know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brooks and Dunn. Yeah. And my father went through a new country phase in the late 90s. So he and his third wife, Joyce, the woman who raised me, when they divorced, and I say that, I don't mean that in a negative way. My mom, also my mom. But when they divorced, he got really into country music as well, and then moved to Tennessee, which is a whole other thing.
Oh, wow.
For a little bit. Yeah, a whole other thing. This is back when we were living in Jersey. And I remember like when he got Martina McBride and then the Garth Brooks years, and then that was really, it took me a minute to adjust because I was listening to like a lot of
pop,
high pop,
yeah.
A lot of pop, and a lot of. That was getting towards my Atlantis Garbage Riot Girl years as well.
Oh yeah, I those too. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm fairly ecumenical. I like a lot of. I've never quite understood a lot of what people will say, like, oh, I listen to everything except country and rap. That came up a lot, but right. I think that was an era specific thing, and people have now adjusted to what rap really is and where you can find it. And what appeals. And country, I mean, I know she shouldn't necessarily get the credit for it, but I know a lot of people, their gateway is going to be someone like Taylor Swift or someone who.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I will say that one of the other best concerts I ever saw was Garth Brooks at the height of his career at Frontier Days in Cheyenne. And man, he was wild on the stage. And did
he do Beaches of Cheyenne?
He did, actually.
Yeah, of course he did.
Yeah, he did. Because Lane Frost actually died in that arena. And so, but he climbed to the top of the light stand. You know, the lattice, big lights that they have in the corners. He free climbed it just with his mic in his hand, wife singing, climbed up, hooked his feet in the top, and sang a song from the very top like it was nothing. And then he climbed back down and kept going. And then I saw him again 20 years later on that repeat tour, again in Cheyenne. Sounded exactly the same. It was incredible. Yeah, but beautiful, beautiful concert, and so many fans came out for that. It was really fun to see.
He was
Um,
such a I don't know if people realize it because again his streaming existence is nil, but he was up there with like the fame, like
yeah.
the monumental fame this man had.
And he came out
Yeah.
of nowhere initially, because he had that Friends in Low Places, which
Mhm.
really launched him, that whole album. But then all the things that came after it, like the Thunder Rolls, and
Mhm.
there was just so much music that he had, that if people haven't really listened to him, he inspired, I think, a whole new generation of country, honestly, when they saw
Yeah,
what he
yeah, I
did
would
with
say so.
music. Yeah, because well, and honestly, the with Taylor Swift, she was really connected with Brooks and Dunn, and a lot of the greats helped launch her when she was very young as well. So I feel like there's a lot of mentoring that goes on the way that we mentor in burlesque. That same thing happens in the music industry, and
Yeah, you get and stand up too. That
yeah,
too.
and it's
You get
beautiful.
your mentors, and sometimes it's crushing to find out if that mentorship was less on the up and up.
Oh,
Because
you were
sometimes,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, we're
but
uncovering a lot of that, unfortunately, with
I
yeah.
know, and even Garth is not. I mean, he doesn't get quite the press these days, but he has allegations that he has argued against. But it's just sort of,
Well, unfortunately, I think that comes with fame, and when
yeah,
get famous, you aren't always on your best behavior, and you make poor choices. Just you're human like the rest of us. Hopefully, those ones don't do some of the things like the Epstein files.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we had, I mean, and but when we can, we will when we get like that little moment of we're very tentative with our rock stars now, where if they step just ever so slightly out of line, we get very cranky with them. Whether it's someone like Chapel Roan, who I really enjoy, but has put her foot in her mouth a few times,
Absolutely.
or if it's someone like I mean, well, Lizzo had a huge falling out after
Oh,
the
yeah.
yeah, all kinds of stuff, and so we'll make a lot of excuses for bad behavior, particularly when they're men, but a lot of the women will be targeted in that regard. Meanwhile, Kanye's still doing fine, and Louis C.K. is selling out tours, so they're fine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, um, fortunately, some of those humans that were not behaving so well have done a little time, and that's not a bad thing. So we're getting better
Yeah.
with accountability, but we still got some work to do for sure. Yeah.
Well, we have a bit of a feminist anthem coming up,
We
which is has
do.
a country, if not a bass. There's a bit of a vibe to that song. I feel. Tell me
Yeah.
about Fight Song.
Well, I was married for a very long time. I have a whole nother life. I didn't actually get into burlesque until I was in my mid to late 40s. And it actually started burlesque when I was in the middle of my divorce. And I had a friend in her 60s who took me to my very first burlesque jazz class. And she was in my Zumba class, came regularly, and so she's the one that kind of got me. Uh, One day she came to my class and went, "This is sad. We're not doing this anymore," and took me to burlesque jazz, and that helped kind of get a little spark, and then also helped me navigate the process of getting divorced, and said, you got to stop being sad. You need to get mad. And so this became my like drive to work anthem, because there were days getting up to trying to go teach, and having all of this stuff going on in the background was exhausting, because it was awful. It was very ugly. It was a I wanted it to be amicable, and he really did not. We were
Mm.
together 26 years, and basically, cutting all of that out, including his entire family, was hard. And until I got really, really mad because he did some pretty awful things, I was acquiescing a lot. And then it was, yeah, no, I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to fight back. And so this was my little anthem that I played a lot.
Nice. It is another really good driving song, like
It is.
pumping yourself up. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
This is the appropriately named fight song from Rachel Platton. That was Fight Song
Yeah.
from Rachel Platton, 2016. God, 10 years old already. My God. Oh my God. I catch myself doing that every once in a while because I mention very frequently the years that these songs come out for context.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, wow.
Don't
Yeah.
make me feel old.
No, listen. So Burlesque, I'm celebrating 20 years in September.
Wow.
I'll be 43 by the time that happens. And I had no idea what my 40s would possibly look like. So I'm taking it as it comes. Uh, yeah, who knew? And there, I mean, and I don't mind saying, I've said it before. There were days where I did not know I would get here. So the fact is that there's a lot of folks who don't. So either, I mean, works for me. Accidental queer elder here. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Well,
Um,
we need many queer elders in the
yeah.
community who are visible and vocal.
Well, if I can facilitate, I like to be part of that. It is daunting every now and then because as you pointed out, you started roughly 2016, 2017. So
Yeah.
are you celebrating 10 years?
Um, yeah, technically, yeah, I would say I didn't really do like my first solo performance until 2018. I did mostly
Okay,
group stuff,
that
but
counts.
yeah,
Still
but
counts.
I would say I'm coming up. Ooh, yeah. I mean, this month I think actually would technically be my first group kind of live performance outside of the studio because we did little studio
Sure.
showcases. And I would say that we did a big group number out of the studio in July, and then I did my first solo kind of self launch in August. Yeah.
How involved in the creative process of the group numbers were you?
Not at all.
Okay.
The person that was in charge of that particular company was a small control freak. So
Okay.
yeah, there was no. But I will say it inspired me to. I teach every week now, and we're doing some. We have our own studio showcases, both in and out of studio. We have one coming up in October, and the vibe of what we're doing is very different than all of the ones we've done so far. And I feel it's really important to stretch their range as well.
Mm.
None of them perform outside of the studio. Occasionally, I'll offer opportunities to get them on a different kind of stage, but most of them are either women who wanted some empowerment back, or they are ballroom dancers who wanted to add more flair and sexuality to their performances, connection on the floor with their partner and with themselves and the judges. And
Mm.
so that's been really fun to kind of stretch their range. And before, we talked about this last night actually, because I like their feedback. You know, we talk about it and where they want to go with the numbers. Before, they would say things, some of them to go to the South Studio and then come north where I am, and they go, oh, I have to go to burlesque, or I have to go to heels class, and they would go, that's nice, oh, yeah, and it was very awkward, like, oh, yeah, and
Mm.
then now they say things like, yeah, your last number was so fun, or I wish I could do that, I just can't wear those shoes, you know, so it's changed. The first couple of years were like, oh, you're one of
Oh.
those ladies, and now it's totally different, which is
Now it's
awesome.
acceptable. Now it's
Yeah,
acceptable.
yeah. We've crossed the threshold.
Wow. Would you will we get to your first solo song? Is that on this list or was
It's
that something else?
it's actually the next one.
Well, let's get into it then. Tell me about your
Yeah.
first solo.
Um, the very first solo that I did, I picked the song because I liked the song, but I didn't really feel it. I did it to sort of check
Hmm.
the box. So this song I would say is probably technically my second solo, but it was also about I had met someone on the other side of the divorce, kind of in the middle of it, and I didn't really have an intimate relationship with my husband anymore. He just wasn't interested in me that way at all, and so we were pretty much roommates. We didn't really have a physical relationship. And this person made me feel something again. And
Mm.
we actually had some really special encounters, but it was kind of a not healthy codependent relationship.
Mm.
As you are leaving one toxic situation, you tend to jump into another one. But in the moment, it helped me get to a place that I needed to be. And I still perform the song. I'm actually going to do it tomorrow night. It means something different now than it
Mm.
did then. And I've gotten to do this number at a couple bigger festivals. My first international festival, I did this song. Um, and I incorporate some of the dance elements that I have done for a long time. So it has more angst in it now. It has a better
Mm.
character development in it now. I connect with it on a much deeper level because I can channel it in a way that I couldn't before. And the first time I did this number on a big stage, I didn't really have a traditional like mentorship when I started burlesque.
Mm.
And I submitted to 2018 GLCC on a total whim. Like I was super new. And I got in. And I was like, oh God, what am I going to do now? But it was here in Denver. And it was the showcase, not the competition. And I performed on the night of what would have been my 21st wedding anniversary. And we were in the middle of this icky, nasty divorce. And I was really holding back. I was having a lot of trouble. And I took Madame Botero's, um, I don't even know I don't remember what she called the class, but it was all about emoting and connecting. And I'm sure I have the title somewhere, but it's not coming into my brain right now. But I actually cried with people. Gigi Deluge was in that class with me, and some other performers from the Denver area, and they were all really proud of me for this breakthrough. And I didn't know any of them then. I didn't know anybody. I had no clue who anybody was. And so performed that night and connected with the piece on a level that I'd never had before. And I sat in the audience at the Oriental in the front on the second night, and Sweet Pea sat next to me and talked to me for a minute, and I'll never forget her words of encouragement. It was wonderful. So, yeah.
Oh, aptly named Sweet Pea. Oh,
Yeah,
all right. Let's get angsty. This is it Camilla?
it
Camila?
is. Yeah.
Camila.
Camilla.
Cabello. For Never Be the Same. That was Never Be the Same for Camila Cabello. Oh, sexy.
Very sultry, very, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of feels in that piece. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I don't know what the quality is, and I've never found out what if there's an English word for it. But there's like this sound, this resonance in a pipe song has that too, where it's like this sort of I don't know, there's like this audio quality that almost points at the tear ducts. I don't know what it's called, and I feel like there needs to be something. There has to be.
Yeah.
Someone's invented it.
Well, I feel like
Um,
some of the songs that I pick have a certain breathiness to them, that there's like
mm,
space between the lyrics and yeah, but yeah, it's what you're talking about. There's like you can feel a certain level of emotion in them.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not only an audio, it's not just a vocal thing, and it's not just a song, because I've heard it in both, in a variety of things, in songs of decades older. It's just something. I don't know what it is, but it's it's a hit maker. I will say that. Um, our next track, as we're winding down, because we're reaching, this
We
is your
are.
penultimate track. I can't believe we're already at track number nine, number nine, number nine.
Yeah.
Um, a good reminder to the audience listening that if you're listening to this on Audible or Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple or any of the places that I happen to be, cool, thank you. Like, follow, and subscribe, and write a comment if you'd like. They do actually really help. If you write a 5-star and explain why, it does really actually help. I hate that it does, but it does. But if you're listening, you're saying, hey, but where's the songs? Well, about that. You have to go to patreon.com/We Burlesque. Behind the $1 paywall, you'll have access to all 78 of these. Trust me, I'm not here giving out bootlegs of Barry Manilow Cabana. What I am here, though, is allowing you the opportunity to not only see these gorgeous faces, but have access to captions as well. So you'll be able to follow along. I do upload these on Vimeo, and Vimeo has a very good caption AI, which is actually how I want AI to be used. And you'll also be able to hear the full tracks, read the lyrics, and throw me, $1, and that would be great too. But yes.
That's a lot of work for not a lot of money.
Well, listen.
It's a labor of love.
It is a labor of love. It is a labor of love. And of course, you can absolutely give me $20 if you really feel like it.
Hey, don't ask for just $1.
I know. Well, what it also is, I want to be able, in case somebody does like come knocking on the door saying, hey, by the way, A&M is mad at you, I want to be like, okay, but I'm not obviously making any money off of this. Like, right. I do want to be able to do that.
Fair.
Tell us about your penultimate track.
Well, this one actually makes me think about a couple different connections. When I first dove into teaching my burlesque in heels classes, I taught a lot of fitness for many years. I started teaching fitness in 1996, and we had to come up with our own choreography. Like, I started off teaching cardio kickboxing, not Tae Bo. Tae Bo was bad for you. Hurt a lot of people. So, but I have a martial arts background. That was my PE credit in college.
Ooh.
Yes. But I loved kickboxing until it got really hard on my body, and then I transitioned into doing a lot of Zumba classes, which is where this particular class comes, or the song comes from. But they would hand us, we paid for it actually, because you pay a monthly licensing fee. We would get all of these CDs and DVDs.
Sure.
And you would learn the choreography. Well, but people would come to me all the time and say, oh, I heard this song on the radio and I love this song. Could we do this song? And so I would have to create my own choreography. And it reminded me that I'm very capable of doing this and teaching choreography on a regular basis. And so one of the most requested, often played, like they love to do this song over and over again, was the choreo that I did to this Bailando song, which is, Enrique Iglesias. And when I started teaching burlesque in heels, I had this moment of, I've taught forever, taught mathematics my entire life, taught fitness, but diving in and teaching not just dance fitness, but also feeling like I had the background to be able to teach burlesque in heels. I wanted to wait until I felt experienced enough to do that, so I did wait a few years. I waited, I think it was about 4 years that I had been performing solo before I started teaching, and I had requests from the dance studios that I was involved in to create these classes, and then I also teach at a fitness center. And so going back to some of the choreo that I had created for the Zumba classes, I was teaching a bunch before COVID, and then when the world shut down, I didn't really get to do that anymore because we were doing that online, and I didn't enjoy that at all. I had gyms that had 80 to 100 people in them doing Zumba with me up on a stage, and it was wonderful. It was so much fun and so much energy, and I met so many wonderful humans and had a great circle of support when I got my divorce. And so that was kind of the inspiration for me to go, you know what, I can do this. I can teach burlesque classes, and I've been having a blast teaching the classes and doing the choreography with them. And we did our last studio showcase in February, and ballroom professionals can be a little critical. And you also have to teach to the ability level of your students. And so I have women in their 60s and I have women in their 20s, and getting them to also confident in that space. And we do acro chair, we do floor work, they're doing shoulder rolls and all kinds of great stuff. And so we did this wonderful jazz piece, and I had some of the ballroom staff actually give me a compliment on it, and I was like, oh, well, hey, I've arrived at my studio. So that's kind of where this song comes from, is reminding me that, you're okay, you got this. Yeah, keep going. Keep
Oh,
teaching
nice.
classes.
Yes. This is Bailando from Enrique Iglesias. That's Bailando from Enrique Iglesias. Are you multilingual?
I wish.
Yeah, same.
I always had this intention to learn Spanish. I actually took French, which is, super helpful where we live. But I never got fluent in either French or Spanish, and I wish it was one of my skill sets, but I've always kind of struggled learning another language.
Yeah, yeah. I would love if so my Joyce, the mom who raised me, um her parents were deaf, so I learned a little bit of ASL
Yeah.
when I was younger, and I did not retain a lot of it, unfortunately. And so much of that is also it evolves over time because words evolve over time in language. Like I don't know if there was an assigned word for computer necessarily when uh we were doing it, so you probably would spell it as opposed to using a symbol. But that is one of the ones that I wish that I had done, and Spanish too, obviously. And you
Yeah.
know, I mean, how if I could, that's where I want the cybernetic implant. That's what I want. To be able to just, you know, let's
One,
work on that AI. Let's do that instead of
yeah, it
making
could be.
posters for
Yeah.
shows.
One of my favorite things is to watch the interpreters at
Oh yeah,
BHOF. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to watch.
yeah, yeah. So my mom actually did sign language for a whole show of White Elephant once. We did like a fairy tales themed show, and I thought it would be appropriate since it was a lot of dialogue. And so she was like, she did that for us, and she didn't have, we didn't script it, so she had to go off the cuff.
That's
So I don't
amazing.
know. Yeah, yeah. She's not. I think there's probably like certifications that one has to go through now, but at the time it was just for our benefit. But yeah, she had done a number of interpretations for things for folks. But yeah, I wish. Yeah, I wish. Well, we've reached the end
We
of
have.
your list. Somehow it has all occurred. And following Bellefire's track, we have Victor's hidden bonus track where I pick a song from my selections. I did do my 10 on episode 2. The wonderful Stormageddon did my interview. I encourage folks to listen to that. However, I have found that 10 is too few, so I get to add a new song after everybody's as well. So I've had what, 178 or so?
I was gonna say,
Um,
and that's kind of
I'm
cheating.
if I can't cheat on my own talk show, I don't
Right.
know what to tell you.
I have to say that's
Um,
my favorite chant at the run fairs. Cheat to win, cheat to win. And yeah. So if we can't be bad in kind of the best way, then
exactly, and it's
that's
sharing.
cute.
You know what it is also. It's and very often what will happen is that the person that I'm speaking with, they will inform which songs I pick. So it is also an exchange. It's
Oh,
not just me popping in. It a
okay.
lot of times what I think I might be playing, I do not. I actually have a playlist here that I adjust constantly, and songs that I haven't gotten to because they keep getting pushed back
Oh, sure.
because
Yeah.
either songs get added or I move things up. So one never knows. Um,
Do you?
before we, yeah,
I was gonna say, do
yeah,
you kind of pick a song before you get our songs and go, I think this is gonna fit them, and then after you see our list, you go, whoa, okay, no, that one doesn't match
often,
at all. Okay.
often, yeah.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily that they don't match. It's that often the conversation will trigger something. So, for example, if we spend a lot of times, so today we've talked about divorce, we've talked about fathers. I've been thinking a couple of songs
Okay.
based on that already.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we started talking about dance, and I'm like, okay, well, where do I want to pick in terms of that? So when I had Stella Nova on, who was the episode right before you, actually that episode came out the day that we're recording. She is also a dancer, and so a lot of her songs were dance focused, and a lot of it were also sort of a certain era. And so I chose a Muse song called Uprising based on what our conversations were having.
Yeah.
When I had Juna Bay on, they were talking a lot about emotion. They picked a couple of songs that were like tearjerker songs. So I'm like, well, then I'm going to give you one right back. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So that's how that usually shakes out. But they were on the list. They just,
Got
get
shuffled.
prioritized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, before we get into track number 10 and we go into mine, can you tell the folks at home the ways that they can keep in touch with all of your goings on?
Absolutely. I post a lot on my social media. I tend to use Facebook and Instagram primarily. And so Bella Fire dash Ray, that's Bella Fire, Fire dash Ray, Ray is Facebook, and then bella.fire.colorado on Instagram. Try to post regularly on there as much as I have a love-hate relationship with the socials. Um, it's amazing when people who have followed and who live in an area that I'm coming to come to a show and come up and say hi. I love meeting people that say, "Oh, I've been following you forever, and I've never got to see you perform live," and I just really enjoy that
Yeah.
immensely. I think it's wonderful when you've got people who have been on the journey with you for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was actually really, really gratifying when I started volunteering at Beehoff because I sort of felt like I was entering a club that I had not been part of
Yeah.
about 5 years ago. And because I didn't start going until after the pandemic,
Me
because
too.
then I lived on the West Coast. And I was like, well, now I sort of have to, don't I? And people knowing who I was, not that like, I mean, again, queer elder status sort of being by virtue of being here earlier and having a pretty decent, not a great, but a decent internet footprint. Uh, so follow and subscribe, people.
That's
But when
good.
you do have an opportunity to tell people that you've been following, please do, folks. Please do. Let folks know that you enjoy their work. I don't know. I don't know anybody who I associate with that would take that lightly. So.
I don't either. And that was also one of the really great things about teaching was
Mm,
having students come back to me later on, especially, not seeing them for years. I primarily taught at a community college and, you're launching them to their 4 year and then having them come back in their career, or at the end of their academic journey and saying thank you, uh, you know,
yeah.
sharing what they're doing or coming back later on. I still have people occasionally who chat with me on LinkedIn who are my undergraduates, and they're grown-ups, they've been out in the world for 20 years and it's pretty cool. I just actually helped somebody with a letter of recommendation. I've filled out a reference letter for her, and I heard today she got the job. So
Yay!
yeah, it's great. Yeah, so I love staying connected for sure. And I saw somebody at FanFest for Pikes Peak Hill Climb. I was working FanFest, and somebody that I had chatted with off and on after my divorce. Somebody I had, shared some things, and they had been really kind and reached out on social media correctly in the DMs, the right way, and was also going through something similar. And we were able to, commiserate from time to time. It was nice. And they went, "Oh my gosh, we finally get to meet in person," so that was cool.
Yeah. Very cool. I got to get back to Colorado. I obviously that's where we met, but
It
it is.
was, and I still listen to that Spotify playlist you shared with me. I remember asking you for that, going, "I love this. Can I have
Yes,
this?"
yes. See, we met and we shared music together. See,
We did.
now I do know the song. Tell me where it falls into your storyline.
Well, this kind of connects with my previous song in a random way, but I use a lot of the dance elements that I know to build my choreography. And obviously, bailando, I had cumbia and some cha-cha in there, as well as tango. So I used all of that in that particular piece. I have a musical theater piece that I just performed in Kootenai that has paso doble in it, and so that's kind of my ballroom roots. And then this takes me full circle back to angry rocker chick 80s vibes. And this is a femme fatale piece that I have that I do some edgy acro chair stuff in. And this one has also traveled the world a little bit. I performed this one at the Australian Burlesque Festival, and I turned 55 on stage there, and I got to do this act. So I did that last October, and it's one of my newer numbers. I actually started this number with my burlesque class. We did a version of it, and I loved the song so much that I wanted to put it on stage, and so I modified the end of it to be a little edgier, a little sluttier, and it's been a really fun, femme fatale piece. And I have a leather jacket and a hat and a harness and these knee-high platform red velvet boots that I wear, and I've got a Canova bass piece that was my very first one that I use for some other numbers as well. And it only has a couple reveals. Super edgy, really raw, angry, coming for your mind tonight kind of vibe. So yeah.
All right. This is Jen Wigmore with Kill of the Night from 2011. That's a jam. That's Kill of the Night. Nice.
This is also one of the first numbers that I did this one for Carnival here in Colorado. That's one of Scott Happel's shows that he does quarterly. It's the first act that I did where people were in the audience doing part of my choreo, and I was like, so that was really fun. Like all my friends that I know who were in the audience were doing pieces of my choreo with me, and I don't know, kind of made me feel like, hey, I made it. If people are in the audience doing my choreo, then yeah, that's cool. So.
We talked a little bit when you mentioned Oklahoma, but do you get into musical theater much? Is that still a thing for you?
Yeah, it is. My most favorite number right now that I'm doing is a song from Steel Pier. And I feel like Steel Pier isn't as well known, but there's a fabulous song in there from Deborah Monk that
Is it Everybody's Girl?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm having the best time with that number. I'm doing a really comedic piece to it, and it's like I said, that the beginning is very Paso Doble inspired, and I feel like my take on it is different than other people's. The first time I heard that song, I was at the Midwest Burlesque Festival, and a drag queen was doing that song, and I didn't really know the rules yet. And so I kind of put it away because I was like, I don't know if somebody else is doing this, if I have permission, and I don't know how to navigate this. And then there's a little bit in the beginning where it's very Latin inspired, and we were going through kind of an era in burlesque where trying to be very careful about cultural appropriation and doing things in a way that was very respectful. Mm-hmm. And so I checked in with Mr. Valdez and Pistol Holiday and told them my inspiration and how I wanted to do this piece, and I felt like I wanted to get a blessing for, yes, we believe that you can do this in a way that's going to feel respectful and appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That is also a drag staple. I think the first time I heard it, knowing what it was only relatively recently, actually, recently, 10 years ago, with Jinx Monsoon, actually. She has a cover of Everybody's Girl, which is a lot of fun.
It's such a fun song, and I did it. We have a show here that they do a little sampler, so we usually have a couple of drag artists, and then a king or queen or both, and then a burlesque performer, and it's a kind of a short show. Everybody usually does 2 acts, and there's only 3 performers, and it's early in the evening. And after I did that number, the queen that was hosting said, I'm stealing that song, right? And I said, you go right ahead.
You have fun. You have fun. Because also that everyone's going to do it in a different way.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely. Yeah.
It's hard to, especially a song that so celebrates slutdom, for you to say, no, that's my slut song.
No, well, and I could say that about Bad Girls, but I have the feeling I'm not going to own that one either. Yeah. So.
This is my slut song. All right. It's Victor's hidden bonus track, and I have decided. Okay, all right. Actually, on the same vibe as yeah, I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm not gonna overthink it. We're going with this one. So this one came to mind because of Fight Song and because of Never Be the Same and sort of like this sort of empowered woman vibe. But also sort of pop, but and shimmery, but with I don't know, just some substance to it, with a good groove and a good beat to it. So I first heard this song probably in 2016, maybe 2015. But it came on the jukebox radio that rock bar where White Elephant was having regular shows came on. So it was a would-be hit. I believe it eventually did become a proper hit. But I really liked it. I was like, oh, I gotta find that. So I found it, and then it was on the regular drive list. It was one of those songs to listen to as one drives. And I think it makes me think of a lot of different things. I was pretty settled in my relationship with my now husband. So I wasn't necessarily dealing with the same kind of trauma that I was before with the breakups and all of that. But it helped me recontextualize, sort of feel that kind of, empowerment in a retrospect. So, and I listen to a lot of sad, tragic stuff that really doesn't apply to me right now anyway. So, but this is upbeat. So we're going upbeat.
Okay.
This song is called Ghost.
Uh-huh.
It is from a singer named Ella Henderson, which is one of the most generic pop star names ever. It has no, I guess you couldn't just go by Ella, but Henderson just doesn't quite, I don't know. I don't know anything else by her. I only know this song. But it's a bop, and we're gonna listen to it.
I have to search it while it's playing.
This is called Ghost. This is Ella Henderson. Ghost from Ella Henderson. It's good, right? It's fun.
I like it.
Yeah. It's got good movement to it.
I would say it's pretty accurate because the whole start of my burlesque journey was definitely about self-empowerment and a little female rage, self-reclamation journey, and then continuing through, has been definitely about connecting with other people and talking about, how we got here, like how
Right.
did you get to the stage and being able to feel safe, to talk about it. There's a lot, we all have a little trauma, I think, that follows us, and being able to embrace it and get it out there and,
right.
And
channel it.
Yeah, and I think doing real therapy is very important and very healthy, which I have done quite a bit of at the end of that divorce period, but also using what I learned to be able to emote and channel it in a healthy way so I can connect with myself and also connect with the audience.
Yeah, which, that's what you have to do too, because it's not just masturbatory art. This is also meant to be entertainment. This is meant to be accessed and consumed. And to resonate, I think you really need it to be authentic.
And that takes a certain amount of vulnerability to be authentic. Yeah. So we all got to share a little piece of ourselves when we're out there. And, sometimes it's a happy version and sometimes it's an angry and sometimes there's some angst in there. And that's all.
And sometimes it can surprise you because you think it's one thing and it turns out to be something else. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like doing that.
Sometimes we surprise ourselves because what we intended and what it actually morphs into, super healthy.
Yeah. See, there was another one that I was alternating with when I came up with this. So I don't know. So I'll say it so that you can check it out. But it's a song called Jar of Hearts.
Oh, I love that song.
There you go. Well, you already know it. You already know it.
Absolutely love that song. Yeah.
And I did an act to that for a very long time, and it was a lot of burlesquers have that song where they write words on their body, and that was one of the ones where I had words written on my body, and I no longer feel comfortable doing that act, so I don't anymore. But it was very important at a very important time, so that song will eventually make it to Victor's hidden bonus track. But the reason I went with this one is because I wanted to on more of a I mean that's a powerful song and there's strength in it, but this one is a little bit more anthemic. Um, but that one is another one that was sort of like I'm using heartbreak essentially to tell a story. And if the heartbreak is too fresh, or you haven't channeled it in the other way, say therapy or some other proper method, going out there with what you think are scars but are in fact barely sutures, you're gonna hurt yourself and you're gonna hurt your feelings accidentally.
And
Like,
sometimes, yeah, sometimes there's still open wounds, and
yeah,
you don't realize that they are until you really try to do something.
right. And even if you practice, even if you do it, like there's a very different stiff feeling when you
Yeah.
hear it on the loudspeaker and when you're doing it in front of an audience. It's a very, very different feeling. So,
Well, and that's one of the things I feel like when I first started doing that Never Be the Same piece,
mhm,
I really wasn't ready for it. And I had to set it down for a little while because it was still too raw. And
mhm,
I would say I don't know, I probably performed it 15 or 20 times before I figured out that, yeah, this is still a little messy for me. This is not,
mm,
I'm not ready to keep doing this one. And I did. I set it down for a few years. And then I met somebody new. I have a new partner. We've been together for a while now. And so when I perform that piece, it means something different now than it did when I first created it. And so it's,
yeah,
I can put the emotion in it of the heartbreak, but it doesn't end with the heartbreak. It ends with sort of a celebration, which the
right,
piece kind of journey as well. That's really cool.
right. Well, and I mean, I still a lot of the Victor Devon ethos of my very very important theatrical career. A lot of it is rooted in loneliness and cosmic loneliness at that. So like one of my signature acts is the Paper Moon act where I go out with the moon on the wire. And
I love
that
that.
song, that act is about loneliness, like
Yeah,
that straight up. And I will advocate for that act being as a part of classic burlesque shows or classic inspired neo
definitely.
because of what it does and what it tells and what the point of it is. Um, and because it's also inspired by like silent film and the hobo clown as an archetype, as a dignified archetype at that,
Well, and it
which is
also
yeah,
lends itself to very vaudevillian roots, and
right,
it has this beautiful historical thread through the costuming and the musicality of it, and yeah, absolutely, I would agree that it
yeah.
belongs
But
in
I
this.
would say that I don't know if I had the wherewithal to appropriately do an act like that without knowing what I know now.
Right.
There are acts when you do at 42, and I think I did that act in my mid 30s, and it started as an entirely different act actually. That song I first did as a funeral act. I was leaving flowers at a grave as opposed to making a
Oh,
person. I was making a person at the grave. That's how that
okay.
went. I did it to First Time Ever I Saw Your Face by Roberta Flack. Not a dry eye in the house, might I add.
I
But
can understand.
I didn't want the person to be dead anymore. I wanted that person to be open to interpretation. Is this a song about loss? Or is this an act about loss? Or is this an act about eventual wish fulfillment? Is this about finding self? I've heard a number of interpretations, and it's very flattering for that people have actually put thought into it. Um,
But it's
and I
also
will, yeah,
beautiful because it resonates with where they're at and what they're feeling, and so it leaves it open to so many interpretations, which is wonderful.
that's the hope, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Art at its best.
um, yeah.
When we can make them feel more than just something in their loins.
Yes. Well, I like to give them a break sometimes. I just want them
Right.
to,
Such a such a hard
and
job.
sometimes it's just as powerful to make somebody cry as it is to turn them on.
That yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Or when they're so enraptured that sometimes they forget to applaud. That's the other one. That
yeah.
yeah, when you don't hear anything and you're wondering, oh, is this not resonating? And then
Right.
like you can hear
Well,
the breath instead. That's really wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a hard one too because when you do slow stuff, sometimes the audience is like, "Is this respectful to who? Like, am I allowed? Am I given
Yeah, yeah,
permission?" Or
yeah.
like, let it take you. You'll get there. You'll get there.
And it's an uncomfortable feeling as well as a performer because when you're used to the wooing and the clapping and all of that, and then you do a piece where they don't really do that,
Right.
yeah, I mean, you start to doubt yourself until you got to finish it and feel it till the very end and take the journey, and then when you hear that applause,
Yes.
you hear it in a different way because they felt something very different than
Yeah.
the
Well, that was definitely the case with Jar of Hearts because no one's wooing during that one. No
yeah,
one's
no,
wooing during that one,
no,
particularly with the way that I was dressed or what I was doing with it.
yeah.
But it's no longer. I no longer need that act. I'm glad I did it. But the words that were written on me, I don't want written on me anymore.
Oh,
So it
but
was like,
that's a self-healing journey as well, which is
yeah,
very, very powerful too. And I think, we outgrow acts, and that's okay. And
serves its
that's
purpose.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I have a couple of those myself that um they don't feel like they fit anymore. So you
yeah,
just, yeah, either remake them or set them down because, like you said, they serve their purpose.
yeah. I got other stuff. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. We're
Um,
always creating more, so
I know. Oh God, as I glance over at my insane mess of a costume closet of like
my
pieces that I'm like, where do I put with that one, with that one?
my dining room table right now has like half finished stuff on it that I really should put it all away, but I keep working on little things, and so.
There is something to be said that as much as I would like to just have all of my shit all over this house, there's something where my husband would not be happy with that, where he keeps me in check with that at the very least, because I would take over. There is a reason this room is such a, you can't see it, but there's a
Yeah.
reason that everything is such a fucking mess. It's kind of embarrassing. I would not actually let a stranger see this.
We all should do
Um,
like a video sometimes of our creative spaces. That would be really funny. I have a costume room as well, and one day I really cleaned it up and organized everything. And unfortunately, my brain is a little older, and I put stuff away and I can't find it. And then I'm needing to
yeah.
find it and pull it out, and I lost a beautiful boa it's in the costume room. It's in there, but I lost it for about a month, and then I went, oh, I know where it is. It was after I needed it, but yeah, I know where it is.
I know I'm terrible with my stuff, particularly with because I have my prop stuff, like my laptop act. That laptop is gold. That act has taken me places. That's very important. That should be in a place of distinction.
It
It's
should.
not. It's
Yes.
not. And every single time I run the risk of damaging it. Like I'm like, no, I have to make sure that I preserve that because that's historic.
Yeah.
It's from 1998, and I don't want to have to try to find another 1998 laptop.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that'd be hard. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I could probably find it on eBay, but that's shipping on that alone.
I
But
do have to tell you, the boyfriend is a techie geek, so he may have one in the basement should you ever lose it. Yeah, just put that nugget in the back of your brain.
I do. I was told I had there was a spare option. I had a friend who had something that was like, oh, you can have mine, and it's fine. It's a couple years later. It's probably like 2000. It's just not. It's too good. It's too streamlined. I need it to be that big hunk of
Yeah,
plastic. Like I
yeah.
really do.
It's that
Like it.
giant black box thing that, yeah,
Yeah.
super thick and yeah.
I need it to actually. Yeah. I can't travel with it with the battery though, because it's that I take out.
Oh gosh, yeah, because
But
what does it weigh, like 20 pounds?
I mean, not quite, but it's substantial. And also, I bring it through my luggage, my carry on
Carry on,
when I
yeah.
travel, and they're like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, like it's a
Because it's a
process.
non-functioning laptop from 1998.
Yeah, and they're like,
What am I
why
smuggling
do you
into
need
that?
this? Yeah, yeah. I have a cane that's a wooden cane that I will take with me, and if I have to, I have a collapsible one, but it's just not the same.
Mm,
So I've done this kind of ringmaster inspired act and traveled a bunch of places with it, and it's so funny because when the TSA people they feel it, I used to put it in a garment bag and take it, and they'd be like, "What is this?" And now I just hold it and then I
Yeah.
take it out and lay it in the long tray thing. And inevitably, when it comes through, somebody picks it up and starts doing this like little jazzy thing with it, and they go, "Who does this belong to?" And I go, "I'm gonna just watch you for a while
Yeah.
finish this number you're doing, and then I'll take it back." Yeah. But this
Well,
has been fun.
yes, it's a pleasure. I hope that this was an interesting, cathartic, and/or meaningful exercise for you, and that it either brought back tracks that you haven't listened to in a while, even if those tracks didn't end up making it to your list. To sift through memory is I think important. So thank you for being a part of this, taking this so seriously, and being a part of a collection of folks who have shared their songs. So
well, I am happy we worked it out. I know we had a couple misses, and I am.
You've been so busy.
Well,
it's booked and blessed.
It's yes, and taking care of the mama was kind of important. Yeah. That was the that most complicated part of it, and so we're almost hopefully done with that. That's a couple of weeks, and we'll be able to go. Okay.
I know elderly parents are terrifying.
They turn into toddlers. It's exhausting. Yes, they're wonderful humans, but I know how they felt now during my teenage years. But it's always lovely talking with you, and I'm really glad we got to have this little one-on-one time.
Indeed, I hope we share a stage at some point soon. I will make my way back to Colorado at one point or another, but since you are so traveling, hopefully we'll find each other there. Have a great time in Richmond, and give my affection to those who you know deserve it.
I will do so, and fingers crossed that I'll make my way to California in the next year and be able to see there. Yeah.
All right. Mwah.
Mwah.
Bye, darling.
Have a great night.
You too.
The Music That Made We is produced by Viktor Devon. We Burlesque Podcast Network is the creation of me, Viktor Devon. Podcast artwork is by Logan LaFleur. We Burlesque and podcast cover art photography is by Atticus Stevenson. The theme song, Anna 45, is by This Lady the Egress and is used with permission. Incidental music is via Pixabay under the Fair Use Doctrine. Visit WeBurlesquePodcast.com for notes on this and every episode. You can follow We Burlesque and Viktor Devon on just about every platform. Spell @ symbol before it and remove all the spaces. You can also support the podcast via patreon.com/WeBurlesque or via Venmo by searching VIKTORBEVONNE. Don't got the cash? Who does? Please follow, subscribe, and get 5 stars on every platform you can get your hands on. It really does help. All original material is owned by Viktor Devon and by Ellison Burlesque Corporation. All of the materials are property of their respective copyright. No infringement, while likely, is intended. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes of criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair uses are used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All rights and credit go directly to the rightful owners. No copyright infringement intended. Please don't sue me.